Alright, chat, let's take a look at this, shall we? We'll take a look at this and then we'll move on. We'll move on to something else. So there's this video that popped up on my feed or so. Why everyone seems to have more money than you. Very curious on this one, actually. So apparently everyone's like rich and everything like that, and like you're piss poor, baby piss poor, you know. But you want to know something? I feel like all those videos that show like these people being rich and everything like that, I feel like it's fake. It's not real.
When you open social media, it feels like everyone is a millionaire. You see 22-year-olds in Lamborghinis, creators talking about making 100K in a week, and suddenly your life feels small. You start wondering, am I behind? But I'm not here to tell you you're doing amazing just the way you are, and I'm also not here to tell you you're failing, because on this channel we keep it real and analytical. So let's figure out if you're actually behind, or if social media just distorted your perception of wealth. And if you are behind, I'll tell you what to do about it. I basically read dozens of finance books, and more importantly, I've actually gotten real advice from my multimillionaire friends who actually have the money they claim to have. So let's get started.
Damn, I wish I had multi-million-dollar friends or so to ask opinion. Oh, my eyes!
First, let's talk about the actual data.
God,
and
my
honestly,
eyes.
this might sting a little, because the median salary for someone else in their 20s is actually around $40,000 a year in US. By your late 20s and early 20s, it jumps to about $59,000. In your late 30s and early 40s, it's about 70K. But here's what really matters.
Can you use black background with white text next time? Ugh, my eyes. Sorry, I just had to criticize that.
Which is median savings by age, and you can see it on the screen. When it comes to investments, for 40% of Americans under 30 have literally nothing invested, like $0. So if you have a 3-month emergency fund, you are basically ahead of 57% of Americans who couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency. And if you have even $1,000 invested, you're actually doing better than almost half of your generation. Now look, if you're struggling to
Really? Well, that's interesting, to be honest.
pay rent or buy groceries, you are behind, and that's actually real. I'm not like here to gaslight you that you're doing good, okay? Some people are genuinely struggling financially and need to focus on increasing their income first. But if you have a job, maybe $5,000 saved, even in a small investment account, and still feel broke because everyone on Instagram seems to be buying Lamborghinis at 25, that's actually not a money problem. That's more of a perception problem. Here's what basically social media did to our brains.
Fuck, can you fucking use a black background and white text? Oh my God, my eyes.
Completely normalized being a millionaire. Because like, think about it, 10 years ago, becoming a millionaire was an extraordinary achievement that took decades of work. Now, it's thrown around so casually, like on every platform, that millionaire has become basically the new middle class online. You know, we even see billionaires on social media. And the issue is that algorithms don't show you the average because they feed you extremes. Because people engage with the extremes and the algorithm pushes the extraordinary until it becomes your new normal. Let me give you actual perspective on wealth for people our age. To be in the top 1% earners in your late 20s, you actually need to make around like $170K. And in your early 30s, it's about $210K. And the reality check is that only 7% of 30-year-olds earn 100K or more per year. Like 7%.
Do you guys have more than 100K per year, chat? I know I got a lot of chatters that are boomer ages. Well, not really boomer ages, but they're over 30. So you guys making that much a year, chat? Huh? Fuck no. well, at least we got one.
Yet somehow, everyone on your feed in their 20s is claiming they are making millions. Now you might be thinking, but Rudy,
I'm
Aren't you
21 and I
also
make
young
0.
and making good money? Yes, but here's the thing. I have 1.4 million subscribers and I've been doing YouTube like since 2016. I'm not making millions despite all the years. Yet every day I see people claiming they hit 7 figures in 6 months just like starting this questionable business.
Yeah, because it's called literally prying on the weak or so who want to earn money, and it's literally just conning them. You know, sign up to our class or so, and you can become rich too in 6 months. You know, and it's literally like, you know, oh, it's only like one video or so. And it's like, yeah, how to get rich? You just scam the sucker. I scam you. Now you go scam someone.
And as an insider of like social media creator, let me tell you what's actually happening inside, okay? The luxury lifestyle you see online is almost always smoke and mirrors. When you see someone posting from a Lamborghini, it's usually a 2-day rental, specifically for content creation, okay? And let's say they're filming at an penthouse, right? They're claiming that's their home. That's usually an Airbnb. And when people post private jet photos, usually it's like $500 to sit on a grounded plane for a photo shoot so that they can seem rich. And if
it's all fake, chat. It's all fake. These kids are broke as hell as well. They spend all this money to flex, even though they're losing money. Especially trying to post it on TikTok, trying to earn tons of money.
If someone like pops up claiming making millions but you've never heard of them, just do a quick research, okay? If there's no real business about them, no credibility, no history, no any like traces of their business, then they're probably lying. And the crazy thing is that fake it till you make it actually works on social media, right? Because once you look rich, people buy your course on how to get rich, which is basically an ultimate how to get rich scheme. And it just creates this wealth illusion. And this is how social media has completely rewired what we think is normal. We let algorithms convince us that extraordinary is average.
That's why Jack Doherty is the GOAT. No, stop it. Shut the fuck up, Dark. Stop.
That everyone except us is winning. When in reality, most of what we're seeing isn't even real.
Oh yeah, I just noticed you have the tentacle. You have the rainbow tentacle badge or so
on social media. Of course, there are some billionaires, there are millionaires on social media, but most of them are fake. But here's what's even crazier. Even the people who are making real money, you know, lots of money that they're claiming, aren't actually that much ahead because they might be rich, but most of them are not wealthy. And there's actually a huge difference between of them. About 20% of households earning more than 150K in the US are actually living paycheck to paycheck.
So here's why even Americans making more than 100K lives paycheck to paycheck. Really interesting.
Like, think about that. 1 in 5 families making 3 times the median income can't survive a month without their next paycheck. And more than half of Americans making at least 6 figures per year are living paycheck to paycheck too. It might sound crazy that some people are making over 6 figures but they're living paycheck to paycheck, but I actually completely understand them because I was also one of them till recently. When I first moved to Dubai and started making serious money.
Excuse me? Where'd you move to? What? Excuse me?
Recently. When I first moved to Dubai.
To Dubai? Huh? How do you get that rainbow? How do you get the rainbow tentacle? Is to be subbed for a while or so. I don't know. I can't check it because I can't log into my Twitch account. Remember, I don't have my phone, so I don't have a phone anyways. Take care, Cookie. Be safe. Thank you for coming by as always. Very much appreciated. So you take care. You be safe, hun.
And started making serious money. The interesting thing that happened was that if I would make, let's say, 15K a month, I would spend 15K a month. Let's say I would make a 20K a month, then magically my lifestyle expenses matched to that. And let's say
if I made 15K a month or 20K a month, I wouldn't even crack like a fraction of that price. You can close the video. She isn't poor like dude, honestly, if I made like 15K or 20K a fucking month or so, bro, I wouldn't even know what to do with that fucking money to begin with. Like, that would probably go into my savings. Like, I'd probably maybe would buy me like a used Nintendo Switch OLED. And like, maybe that $300 graphics card. Maybe I buy me a memory stick for my PS Vita so that I can jailbreak it and then get whatever game I want, you know? 15K a month, that's going to the PC funds. Yeah, I would probably get me a second computer. And it's pretty much it. Like that's it. Like, what is it for a new computer? Is like what, $3,000 to $2,000 or so, somewhere around there, depending on the parts in general. But you can probably like get the part. I can probably get the parts even cheaper, and it will probably cost me way less than $2,000. New meta: the poor flexing their non-existence wealth, the rich acting they struggling to pay rent. It's like, why would you want to like spend, like, if you're earning that much money, why are you trying to spend even close to like what you're earning anyways? Like, why? What's the point of that? And that makes no sense. Shouldn't you like still live the way how you are, but then like have that money for like emergency funds, or like maybe invest it in something, you know? I don't overspend. Like, if I have a certain budget, if I make this much or so per month or so from the combination of like YouTube and Twitch and everything like that, right? Like, I make sure I have some money left over for the when I get paid the next month, you know? So then it kind of looks like I'm like stacking, but I'm not really though. But it just kind of makes me feel happy though, so.
I made a 30K a month. I thought if I would make 30K a month, I will be able to save so much money, but I was spending every single penny. And despite being in the top—
How are you spending every single penny? What? Excuse me? How? I can't think of anything. Like, I'm trying to think of something here. If I made 30K like a month or so, how much, like, what are you spending it on? Huh? People spent what they earned, not what they had. I don't spend what I earn. I don't spend like I'm poor. I've had that poor mentality for all my life, you know?
0.1% of earners of my age group, I was living paycheck to paycheck until like last year, like $30,000 a month, more than most people make in a year. And I had nothing saved, nothing invested, zero financial security, and my job is social media. It's very fluctuating. How does this even happen? It's basically called a lifestyle creep, and I thought I will never struggle with that. The thing about it is that it starts small, okay? You upgrade your apartment because you deserve it, and then you need a furniture to match the apartment, and then you think like, you can't be seen in a Honda when you live in that building, so you upgrade the car too.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna go to an apartment or so, I'm not gonna go to a goddamn expensive ass fucking apartment.
Friends are flying business class, so economy feels kind of like a failure. Suddenly everyone around you—
I'd probably, if I want to do the economy or whatever, I'll probably will do it once in my life, but then never again. Maybe just like that one time for like experience wise, just to like experience it for one time in your life, because you'll know you'll never experience it like ever. But then I'll never do it ever again, you know? So that I can tell you guys the story about it, how it was, you know? It'd probably make a good story or something, you know?
Is wearing designer clothes, eating—
I don't wear designer clothes, bro. I literally, bro, I just recently just got like 3 or 4 shirts from like Hot Topic, you know? That's it.
Restaurants where dinner costs like $300 per person, and taking weekend trips to different countries and stuff like that just becomes your new normal. And living—
for me to go on a trip or so, man, dude, where would I want to go? I probably would go to Japan, and then that's pretty much it, and then come back. That's it. Like, that's all I would probably do, because it's so exhausting to go on a why would you? I could never understand why so many people go like into different places and fly around or so. It's so, number one, it's expensive. Number two, on top of that, the jet lag is a pain in the fucking ass to deal with, and you're just like mostly tired all the damn time. It's like, oh god, dude.
Dubai accelerated this to me because every day I would see Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bentleys, and it became my new normal. Like when everyone at brunch pulls up in a supercar, driving a Toyota feels like a statement of failure. I really, like, literally convinced myself that if I don't buy a Lamborghini as my first car, I thought I'm not even successful. But I don't even have.
That's a weird mindset to have. If you do not buy a Lamborghini at the age of blah 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 blah, you failed.
A driving license. And the trap is that I thought this pressure would motivate me. I told myself if I spend more, I'll be forced to earn more. And technically it actually worked. Like I did earn more, but my expenses always grew faster than my income. Like making $30,000 a month sounds like you made it, but when you're spending $30,000 a month, you're just high earning broke person. And
what the fuck? Who the fuck? Where the fuck do you start spending $30,000? Like, where do you find a location to be spending this much money? I can't think of anywhere where I can think of or so. Like, what the fuck? Are you giving it to the homeless man down the street or something? What the hell, dude? If I made $30,000 a month or so, you know, you guys would be seeing projects left and right. Well, not really, to be honest. You'd be seeing projects every so often, so even then, they'd still save up money for like something else in the future. So, but like even then, at least I could afford some things, you know, and then somewhat live somewhat comfortably, I guess. I don't know, bro. I'm trying to think of like what would I do? What would I spend it on if I had $30,000 a month? I guess a second computer? I guess. I don't know. Traveling is expensive, but nothing beats a jet to shut the fuck up. Shut the hell up. Take care, Vane. Be safe, hon. I think YouTube called Bladed Angel explains this kind of stuff better. I'm just trying to think like what would I spend 30K on if I made 30K? If I had 30K a month or so, what would I spend it on to quote unquote fit the quote unquote rich life? I'm just trying to like think or something, you know? Your ass would spend 30K on Pokemon cards for your sister? I would not spend 30K fucking dollars on Pokemon cards. You must be out of your goddamn mind if you think I'm gonna spend that much money on that. Oh, maybe buy the quarter century, like maybe buy like a box full of them. Maybe that's pretty much about it. What would that be? They're like what? They're like how much does it come with a box or so of like, so it's like what is it? I think the booster box is like 168 or something like that right now, I think. Let me see, hold on. Let's see. Let's do hold on. So 168 times a dozen would be 2,000. It'd be 2,000. So maybe I'd probably spend that, but even then I'd probably open it for stream, you know? And that's pretty much about it. So that'd be for stream though, but that'd be for everybody to come hang out, you know, and have some fun, you know? And that's not even like, and I still have like, I still have 27K still. Almost 28K. I almost have like 28K to spend. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck, what else I need to spend it on. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I would spend 28K on, to be honest.
Anxiety this creates is
computer chair.
You're making more.
Okay, yeah, maybe probably a new computer chair. Yeah, you might be right on that one, to be honest.
money than 99.9% of people your age, but you just can't take a month off. You can't have a bad month. You always need to perform better than the last month. You're one algorithm change, one update, one failed launch away from not being able to pay your rent. The stress of maintaining an image worth of hundreds of dollars while having zero financial foundation, it was so exhausting. But I wasn't alone. Like, I know a lot.
I guess like one thing I could do, but even then I'd be saving money though. Like I would save for it, you know. I would save for, you know, being able to not just travel to Japan, but go live in Japan. But even then, it's still gonna be cheaper because the food is pretty cheap and some of the stuff is actually pretty cheap. And depending where I live or so, it's probably gonna be pretty decently cheap as well. So it's like, even then, I still wouldn't even crack any of like the funding that I would earn every single month, you know? So it's still, so I still wouldn't even like, I was trying to think about it. It's like, what would I spend 30K on? It's like, maybe I can do this, but even then I would save money every single month. And if I'm earning 30K every single month, you know, and I save it for like, let's say about like a year or something, you know? That'd be an insane amount of money like throughout the entire year. And then even then I would probably learn the Japanese, you know, I would probably learn the Japanese language before going over there and living over there and signing papers and stuff like that, you know, and getting approved. Then even buying a house over there, I'd probably still have enough money still reserved. And then transferring my stuff over there, I'd probably still have some money reserved still. And then at that point, it's just like, yeah, I can't think of anything. I generally cannot think of anything or so. Like, I'm trying to think of something to be able to use 30,000 or so that you earn every single month. But I can't think of anything, to be honest. I cannot.
A lot of creators and entrepreneurs, and they're in the same boat too, okay? I know some friends making multiple six figures without any investments, without any savings, like $0. The moment social media gets banned, that person is done. Almost half of Americans held credit card debt because of emergency expenses, but we are creating our emergencies by spending everything we earn. And here's why even Americans making more than 100K live paycheck to paycheck.
No, I
so
don't
we just
spend, I
talked
don't
about
spend on
how all
Dojins.
these people who look rich are actually living paycheck to paycheck. If you want to avoid that trap and build real financial security instead, check out this free resource I found. It's basically a set of 7 financial
It's an
planning
ad.
templates, and what makes these templates
Wow,
useful
it's
is that they show you
crazy.
your actual
Oh,
financial
wow.
reality, not
Really?
the
Really?
of all of
Anyways.
us. Now, people love to say rich people spend like they're poor, but actually that's nonsense, okay? Because actually, wealthy people do spend money. Like, they buy 500K watches, collect cars, own yachts. But
It's the poor people that spend to be rich. That's how it usually is. It's a lot of poor people pretending to be rich. You know? To fit in a specific social class.
the difference is that first, they spend after building wealth, not instead of building wealth, okay? They have assets, investments, multiple income streams, and their lifestyle is funded by their wealth, not their income. And second, they have financial education. They understand taxes, asset protection, diversification, and they also usually have teams of like accountants, advisors, lawyers, all that people. And they also think in decades, not days. And third, most keep their wealth actually private, not because they're modest, but because of wisdom, okay? Because flaunting the wealth makes you a target for scams, lawsuits, kidnapping, and robbery. Like, it's literally—
That's true. That's actually very true. She's not wrong. She's not wrong on that one. If you try to flex so damn much or so, they're gonna start, you know, you're basically painting a bullet behind your back, you know?
not safe. When you do see someone flaunting extreme wealth online, it's usually strategic, like they're selling something, building a brand, or there are new money trying to prove something, or they're fraud, basically. Social media basically programmed us to think in 30-second clips, not 30-year plans, and we're optimizing for how our life looks on Instagram today, not how our portfolio looks in a decade, because it's not sexy and you can show it to people, right? So not every rich person you see is wealthy. Just because they're spending money doesn't mean they're financially responsible. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned last year. But social media never shows you the 10-year view, right? It makes you compare yourself, what they have today, not what they will have in 10, 20 years from now. So how do we stop this toxic comparison game. We're all human.
Fuck, man, did I really... The only thing I have to criticize her so is literally her using that goddamn white screen and that black text. Just change it the opposite, you know?
Nayara. Even you know these things, we naturally tend to compare ourselves to our peers. For me personally, the biggest shift
God, the
that helped me
flashbang
actually
is
get
real.
out of this toxic mindset of like always comparing myself to others was learning about the book called Zen and Japanese Culture. I'm half Japanese, and in the West, people tend to think black and white because it feels simple, it's easy, and it's certain. You're either rich or poor, you're successful or failing. Someone with money is either privileged and lucky, or they're scamming people. And if you're not making millions, you're either lazy or the system is rigged against you. But Eastern philosophy actually teaches something.
What about me? Was the system rigged against me? Kind of. Yeah, the system was kind of rigged against me, to be honest. For God's sakes, I almost died as a baby when I was being born. And that wasn't the first time escaping death either, so... You spawned on hard mode? True, yeah. Almost die at a low percentage of chance or so dying as a baby is what the doctor told my mom. And then later again or so, while growing up or so, my knees got messed up, and even during that time or so is when happened the second almost escaping from death as well. And then while doing football or soccer or whatever, my knees got hit by the cleats, the bottom of the cleats, while saving the ball. And then the doctor told me if I mess up my knees one more time, I won't be able to walk anymore. At this very moment, at the recording of this video right now, I'm having some health issues right now. Well, quotation marks health issues. I don't know if it is health issues or if it's not. I can't tell. I really can't tell what it is. Financially wise, we're kind of you know, not really super great, but not really like terrible to the worst where, you know, where I have to basically stop being a VTuber basically, you know? So we're doing you know, kind of it's just kind of like the answer. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so... Yeah, life has definitely been not happy towards me. I've been fighting in a dog-eat-dog world since the very beginning, so... Yeah.
Something different. Like, think about yin and yang. Everything contains its opposite, right? Light contains darkness, strength contains weakness, and advantage contains actually disadvantage. Nothing is purely one thing. Like, after I actually reflected on this, I realized it's not really choosing between two extremes, like blowing every dollar on lifestyle or being frugal. You won't even buy a coffee and joy. Both extremes are actually prisons. Like, think about it. The person who spends everything
so far,
is trapped by their lifestyle, but the person who saves everything is trapped by their fear. The spender can't stop working and the saver can't start living. Both are actually slaves to money, just in different ways. And the same applies to how we view other successes, right? The 22-year-old millionaire on your feed, maybe they did have rich parents, but maybe also they worked quite hard. Maybe they worked 100-hour weeks. Maybe they got lucky with timing, but maybe they also failed 50 times before succeeding. It's not either or, it's usually both and. And what about you? Like, maybe you are financially behind compared to some people, but maybe you are ahead in relationships, health, or happiness. Maybe you don't have generational wealth, but maybe you have skills they don't. We're all basically dealt with different cards, playing different games by different rules. Like, sitting around labeling people as frauds or privileged or lucky changes actually nothing about our situation. And beating ourselves up for not being where they are also changes nothing. Like trying to pull others down doesn't lift you up. Comparing our chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20 is just keeping us also stuck. The only comparison that matters is you versus yesterday's you. The only game worth play is your own. Once I actually understood this, I stopped seeing money in absolutes. Like I stopped thinking I need to either live like a monk or spend like a king, you know? Because it can be both, okay? And instead, I actually started to ask better questions. It's not necessarily in my—
I wish I can treat myself, you know? I wish I could treat myself as a queen for one day, you know? Can't do that. I can't do that.
my behind, but more like behind according to whom. Not necessarily how do I get rich, but what does rich mean to me? And asking myself, what do I actually need?
Rich to me means financially stable, where I can help my mom pay things that she doesn't need to, and then she can retire once and for all, you know? What do I actually need? A second computer so I can multi-stream on YouTube as well, and on Kick as well.
Neat. Because when you think in this way, you stop thinking in black and white, but you actually finally see the full spectrum of options that are available to you. Like, what does money mean to you, right? You can spend on what matters and save for future. You can appreciate the other success and focus on your journey. It's not necessarily about being perfect, but it's about understanding that you can do both of them, okay? And it's about making conscious changes. It's about defining your success for yourself, instead of importing someone else's definition from social media. But knowing this philosophy is one thing, actually applying it to your daily financial decisions is another thing. That's where probably most of you get stuck. So what do you actually do? Let's get practical, okay? Here's what I would do to break free from this comparison trap and actually feel financially free. First, we need to understand our priorities, okay? Not social media's priorities, but your priorities.
Fuck, man.
This basically means sitting down and asking yourself the hard questions that you might be avoiding. What actually makes you happy? What do you value? What kind of life do you want in 5, 10, 20 years? For me, like personally, I actually did weeks of journaling and I calculated
5 years from now, what would I do? At least be financially secured? Or no, not financially secured, financially stable in 5 years, 10 years. Do some of the fun VTuber projects that I want to do from 5 to 10. And then from 10 to 20, probably open up a business, you know, in the 10 to 20 year mark. And that's pretty much is what I need to do, you know? That's basically is what I'm saying, what I'm thinking of at the top of my head.
everything from like what kind of home I wanted, where I wanted to live, and whether I want to have kids, and what kind of education they will get, and how much that will cost,
life account,
and how often I want to travel, how many hours I wanted to work. And I calculated the money that I need, and it was actually way lower than I thought I would need to have for financial freedom. And second, we need to track where our money actually goes, because most of us have,
like I said, I'll be multi-streaming at the end of the day, so that amount of revenue, depending on because if I'm financially stable in 5 years, then the only thing we can do is just go upwards from there. You know, from 5 to 10 would be some of the VTuber projects that I would like to do. And then 10 to 20 is opening up a business.
Have no idea.
I already
how
have a
much we're
plan and
spending on
everything,
things
so
that don't align with our values, right? It became such a
where I
habit
want to
that we
open
don't
it
even
and everything.
realize it.
So.
Like, because, for example, we think we value experiences, but we end up spending on materialistic things. We say family matters most, but we're working 80 hours to afford a car that doesn't match with your budget. And third, we need to decide what to cut and what to keep. For example, like I'm renting a 2-bedroom apartment in a nice...
What did I cut? Actually, I cut quite a lot of things or so out of my life that kind of like distract me or so. There's only one thing that I haven't cut out of my life or so, which is, you know, watching some of the YouTubers that I'm subscribed to, you know. That kind of like keeps me kind of like afloat a peace of mind, basically.
Neighborhood in Dubai, and I could live in a 1-bedroom apartment and save quite a lot of money. But I work from home and I don't go out often, okay? So my home environment directly impacts my work and it's very important for me. So I'm not going to try to reduce the expense on that because it matters. At the same time, I'm not that interested in fashion. Like, okay, I buy here and there nice clothes. That's it. Like, I don't really care about the trends or like the brands or season or whatever is going on. I buy what's comfortable and I just like that outfit and I just repeat it, wear it again and again and again and again. Is it social media proof? No, but I don't care because that's not my priority. I don't really value it that much. Fourth, we need financial education. Not just like how to make money, but also how to keep it, grow it, and protect it. Because understanding, investing, taxes, compound interest actually matters quite a lot.
Jesus.
And build an emergency fund before any lifestyle upgrades, and try to
she really loves that fucking white background, I'll be honest with you.
Money, because usually compound interest takes a lot of time. It might be boring, but whatever investment that you do, time is usually the most important thing, right? And to be honest, sometimes it's not even a money issue. Sometimes we are financially behind because we are stuck in deeper patterns. For example, you might be avoiding difficult tasks. You maybe start with a lot of energy, but you don't follow through, or you keep switching strategies, or you constantly start from scratch. This is basically why I created my life alignment quiz, because I realized that most of us aren't just making money mistakes, but we are stuck in a life patterns that affect everything, including our finances. It's completely free, and basically the quiz takes like 2 minutes or something like that, and shows you exactly which pattern you're stuck in and what to do about it. Links in the description. And finally, I want you to remind that there is no single answer. You know, some of us will realize we actually do want to chase millions, and that's fine if it aligns with our values. And maybe some of you will realize you've been chasing someone else's dream and you actually don't want that lavish lifestyle. You want something simple, and that's completely fine. The point isn't to judge where we are or where we want to be. The point is to make conscious choices based on our values, not algorithms, and to build a wealth that serves our life, not a life that serves our image. Because you might be behind or you might not be, but until you define what ahead means for you, we'll always feel like we're losing a race we never signed up for. So I think we need to stop running someone else's race. You might be behind or you might not be. First, you have to define what being ahead means for you and what wealth and money means for you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
It's a very interesting video, to be honest. What a very interesting. Except your fucking goddamn stupid flashbangs. That's the only thing. That's like literally the only thing that I hated about this video. was literally the constant bombardment of flashbangs in my eyes, dude. I can't even fucking see half the entire day. Oh my lord. Oh my god. Interesting video, to be honest. Very interesting. And it's kind of just randomly showed up. That's kind of basically like my plan of what I want to do, you know? It's not a bad plan, you know? The question is if it'll come to fruition, because at the end of the day, I did, you know, life is pretty much unexpected at the end of the day. So, you know, you can't really predict what happens in the future. So it's not like I have a crystal ball where I can just, you know, take a look at it and see my future in like 5 to 10 and 20 years from now. Would be nice though, to be honest, but it's not happening though at the end of the day. So I have to basically make sure and be careful and secure my shit at the end of the day. So, but anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. But yeah, overall, that's kind of like pretty much it. So not a bad video, to be honest. Not like super great or anything like that, but you know, but that's just my personal opinion. Not bad video, not a bad video at all. It was very interesting at the very beginning of this video. And also, please, for the love of God, please don't use white screen with black text. Just use black screen with white text instead. God lord, dude, my eyes. At least don't do it. At least don't use it multiple times back to back anyways. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.